Okay, it's 11:30. We're going to get started with our presentation on the future of fax. Thank you for joining us here. So the future of fax, some people might be surprised that it even has a present. And when we started this business, we were certainly surprised by how many clients still used it and still use it to this day. So this slide is going to introduce you to our service, and then a couple of key innovations that we've put on our service that we think serve our clients very well and might keep the service going for a little while longer. Before I get going, though, let me remind you that there is a chat function. If you have a question, you can just ask it in the chat, and we'll try to get at it. Or raise your hand if you want to talk. We can get you set up to talk if you want to raise your hand. So let me quickly introduce you to Rimble. Rimble has a hosted telecom platform that provides business communication services to companies across Canada. We're proud to have kept our clients in touch with their clients throughout 2020. Our hosted telecom platform works with all the latest business phones, and it's fully mobile integrated. We have a conference solution that's integrated into our mobile app, and as well we have a efax solution called FaxHound. Okay, so why do we still use fax? One and probably the best reason why we still use fax is the network effect. You know, really because other organizations use it, you're more likely to use it. It's why we all have Facebook and LinkedIn profiles. You know, as the network gains momentum, it becomes more convenient to use it. Posting a photo on Facebook means that you don't have to send it to different contacts separately. And once that network's gained a critical mass, it's difficult to replace, even if there are better alternatives. You know, and fax is very much like that. There is better and more modern technology, but because we can all agree on fax, it persists. There are some benefits to using fax, though, and so confirmation pages is certainly one of them. When you send a fax, you receive a confirmation page, and which is just a printout from the fax machine on that the receiving end said, "Yep, message received." It includes details such as date and time of the transmission and fax numbers of both fax machines. So it's good evidence that you actually sent that fax. They're kind of the electronic equal of sending registered mail, but you know, other electronic methods such as email are kind of closer to regular mail. You know, the message is sent. There's really no confirmation of its receipt. Did it get to the right person's inbox? Did it land in their spam? You know, you don't really know, and nobody really likes email read receipts or even is required to send them. A confirmation page, you know, from a fax kind of makes it more difficult for someone to claim that they never got the message. The next point is bag addressing, and then also a central receipt point, which is very much related. So a fax can be addressed to anyone in the organization. And often a sender doesn't know the specific person to receive a document. Usually an entire company or department will share a fax machine, and the senders have some confidence that the fax will land on the right person's desk if they just put a person's title in the address. You know, a fax line is a lot like a general email box, but for the receiver, it's sometimes easier to monitor than an email group. When we first started providing telecom solutions to our customers, many of them still had legacy fax machines, and some of them relied on and they still do on their fax machine as their primary method of receiving orders. You know, at first we referred them to a third-party provider in the U.S. that provided a decent efax solution, but for us that was really less than ideal, and for our customers too. There was no integration between their system and our system. So usernames and passwords that we gave out to our system didn't work and were different than the usernames and passwords in that third-party fax system. And in our mind, the service was missing a couple of key innovations that we thought could make the service really useful. Things like multi-user, multiple fax lines, user permissions, and something we call PDF drop, which I'll talk about in a minute. So we built up a critical mass of customers and then decided to build our own service, which I'm going to introduce you to over the next few slides. So here's a quick tour of our fax system, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about PDF drop, which we're pretty excited about. So when a user logs in, they see all of their incoming faxes to that fax line with the number it came from and the date and time. The user can download the incoming fax, which is a PDF document, by clicking the icon on the right. If the company has more than one fax line set up, they can use the drop down to select a different line, assuming that that user is permissioned for it. There are some document management features built in that allow you to assign a fax to a certain person, which then notifies that person by email. And as well, you can categorize the document to custom categories that the admin can set, and also keep small notes beside each fax. So this screen here is our outgoing faxes screen, which allows you to see who you sent a fax to, and also the status of the transmission. So there's the number that you sent the fax to, which of your users sent the fax, the date and time that it was sent, and the status of the transmission. And this is the fax send page. Pretty basic functionality here. There's an address book that you can choose from. We have a separate screen that allows you to manage that address book. You can type a number in directly, and then you can select a file, usually a PDF, to attach, and then you have the option to send a cover page or not. So we'll just take a real quick look at the settings available. So in this page, you can name your fax line and set a time zone for it. We have clients that have multiple offices across Canada, and each office tends to have their own separate fax line, and we do support the separate time zones that their different fax lines are on. On the fax to email screen, you can set who should get emails of new incoming faxes. If an outgoing fax fails, you can set who gets notified of the failure. We have a cover page customization sheet where you can upload your company logo and set your contact information. And then as well, we have a user permissions page where a fax line can either be set to be public within your organization, i.e. available to all of your users, or be user specific where only certain users can see a certain fax line. Okay, so those are the basic features. Most web fax systems have most of what you saw, maybe the multi-user, multi-fax line and some of the document management features might be hard to find. But for the most part, it replaces what a lot of other US-based systems have. There's the added benefit that a user account on the phone system also can log into the FaxHound system. But we've added one more innovation that we're excited to roll out here. We call it PDF drop. PDF drop allows any person with an internet connection to send a PDF document to your fax line. They don't need a fax machine. So I'll just run you through the screens here and show you how it works. So to send a document, the sender goes to www.faxhound.com and clicks the PDF drop link at the top. And then they enter your fax number and hit send. That takes them to an upload screen where they can attach a PDF file. They then click upload, and we begin processing the file. So we're scanning it to make sure it's safe, and we add the usual footnotes that you'd find on a fax. When we finish processing the file, they receive a confirmation receipt similar, but maybe a little better than a regular fax confirmation. So like a fax confirmation, they get the number of pages transmitted, the fax line it was sent to, the time and date of its transmission. But better than a regular fax transmission, you also get a checksum of the file you sent. A checksum is the output of a cryptographic algorithm that can verify that two copies of a file are identical. So with our system, the sender has cryptographic proof of the content they sent. The receiver of the fax, or your user on the fax, faxhound.com, can log into their portal and look at their incoming faxes, and they see the PDF drop much like they would see any other fax. However, instead of a phone number, we show the person's IP address. And then as well, if they have fax to email set up, they would see an email, and in the subject line it just says PDF drop from Bob Smith, who was the person who sent this particular PDF file. So what about security? So with email, anyone can send a file with malicious content, a virus, or a program, and that can trick an email user into opening the attachment. With PDF drop, we've implemented a couple of measures here that will help mitigate the concern. So first of all, the sender can only send PDF files. That really limits the amount of harm that can be done. Second, when our system receives the PDF file, it takes a picture of each page and creates a new PDF with the content. So in that way, if there was any malicious content, it's completely removed from the processed version. So just in summary here, FaxHound is Rimble's web fax solution. It lets you send and receive faxes using the control panel, which you can log into at www.faxhound.com. It supports multiple users, multiple fax lines, and user-level permissions. It has some document management features, and PDF drop, which is a new feature for us and for our clients, allows senders without fax machines to securely send you PDF files. And that's it. If there are no other questions, we'll be back here at 12:30, and I'll be talking to you about call recording and your legal obligations. Yep.
Levon, we do have one question from Jim Reed asking about if the faxes are stored in Canada or not.
Yeah, so that's the benefit of dealing with us. So we store the faxes on a Canadian server, and all the images are encrypted. Each image has their own encryption key. So we've got a secure server. If there ever was a breach and somebody downloaded files, those individual files would all be encrypted themselves, and each of them would have a separate key. So even if they cracked a key, it would only open one file. It wouldn't, so there'd be a lot of work and multiple layers of security here.
So one file a century.
Say again?
One file per century if you have a powerful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. You got it. Yep.
Okay.